In August 1914, as the First World War began to mobilize across Europe, a different kind of revolution was quietly launching in the East. In the isolated French enclave of Pondicherry, India, a former political leader named Sri Aurobindo had begun a period of intense, secluded research. Aurobindo's objective was to develop a systematic synthesis of Eastern non-dualism and Western evolutionary biology. To present this work, he launched a monthly philosophical journal called the Arya. Over a 78-month period, he maintained a relentless cycle of serialization, producing the foundational texts of what he termed integral yoga. As the external world fought for control over territory, the Arya began mapping an alternative trajectory for the development of the human species. This timeline illustrates his massive output. He simultaneously wrote major works like The Synthesis of Yoga and The Secret of the Veda. His central work, The Life Divine, appeared between 1914 and 1919. Its first chapter establishes the core axioms for his framework. The chapter addresses a fundamental tension in biology: the fact that human beings possess a relentless drive for perfection and knowledge that exceeds the basic mechanics of survival. Aurobindo proposes that this aspiration is not a psychological malfunction, but a logical expression of the same forces that drive biological evolution. Chapter 1 functions as a foundational theoretical document, providing the logic that would underpin his writing for the next 3 decades. Standard materialist theory struggles to explain how inert matter can eventually produce self-aware thought. Logic dictates that you cannot evolve a quality out of a system that contains no trace of it. Aurobindo's solution is a process called involution. He argues that for consciousness to emerge through evolution, it must be preloaded or involved within matter from the start. Imagine a high-frequency wave, the spirit, descending and condensing until it is locked inside a rigid material baseline. In this dense state, the spirit is involved or sleeping. Matter, in this view, is essentially congealed consciousness. As the text states, apparent nature is secret God. If we accept the axiom of involution, human consciousness is not a random accident. It is the inevitable awakening of a force that was buried within the material base. This shifts our understanding of evolution from a sequence of random mutations to a teleological process, an unfolding toward a specific end. Aurobindo defines evolution as the overt realization of what is already secretly hidden inside the organism. We can see this in the reverse of the previous diagram. The rigid baseline fractures, allowing the involved spirit to expand and express itself, visible in the emergence of form in minerals, vitality in plants, and basic consciousness in animals. For billions of years, this process was mechanical. Nature drove the system forward, without the organisms having any awareness of the transition. This mechanical phase reached its limit with the animal kingdom. To continue the process, nature required a radically different biological mechanism. We generally view humanity as the final product of evolution. Aurobindo argues we are merely a transitional stage. He famously describes the human being as a thinking and living laboratory. We are a biological crucible, a volatile, unstable environment where nature conducts a new experiment. We are the laboratory where evolution finally gains self-awareness. Humanity is not the destination. We are the transitional organism engineered to facilitate the emergence of the next species. Because humans are self-aware, nature can no longer drive us forward through purely mechanical means. Evolution now requires conscious cooperation. The transition to a divine life requires the active, willful participation of the species. We have to choose to evolve further. The materialist view argues that rational intellect is the sufficient peak of development, dismissing higher aspirations as hallucinations. Conversely, the ascetic view claims the material world is a flaw to be escaped, seeking a goal entirely outside of life. Aurobindo applies the logic of Chapter 1 to dismiss both. We cannot demand that nature stop at the level of intellect, nor can we reject the material world if the spirit is fundamentally involved within it. Within this framework, both materialist complacency and ascetic escapism are evolutionary dead ends. The only logical response is to push the biological laboratory to its limit. The concluding proof of the chapter is straightforward. If spirit is involved in matter, then manifesting a divine life on Earth is a biological mandate. This symbol provides a schematic of the entire process. The descending triangle represents involution, spirit plunging into the material base. The ascending triangle represents evolution, matter reaching upward. The central square and lotus mark the intersection. This is the human laboratory, the site of conscious cooperation. The pursuit of a divine life is, therefore, the most legitimate aim possible to a human being. Published in 1914, this chapter provided a specific logical bridge between evolutionary biology and non-dual philosophy, defining a new trajectory for the manifestation of consciousness on Earth.